after 5 former players have spoken out with allegations against him. The former Crewe Alexandra youth team coach remains at the Lister Hospital near Stevenage in Hertfordshire. What's happening? Let's find out. Enda Brady is standing by for us. Enda, talk to us about what's happening there. He was rushed there on Friday evening?
Very late on Friday night, Kay, we understand. The man is Barry Bennell. He has been treated in the hospital all weekend. What we understand, and it's very difficult to get information about this man because he uses about 15 different aliases that we're aware of, and he's in the hospital behind me, the Lister Hospital in Stevenage, not using one of those aliases, a different name. What we understand is that at 10 to 11 on Friday night, a member of the public rang the emergency services with a report of cause for concern about a member of the public that they'd seen in Nebworth Park, which is on the outskirts of Stevenage. This is about 10 to 11 on Friday night. Police got there very quickly. Paramedics were on the scene within 8 minutes. Now, by the time the paramedics got there, we're told that that man, who is in his early 60s, remember Bennell is 61, the man was unconscious. He was rushed to the hospital behind me. He was treated here on Friday night, and he was in care here, treated Saturday, Sunday and all of today. And he remains in the hospital behind me. As I say, we can't get a condition check on how he is because, quite simply, we don't know what name he has checked into the hospital behind me here. But a large number of camera crews and photographers are here now, and so too is Barry Bennell.
OK, for now, thank you.
4 police forces are investigating abuse claims made against Bennell by former players. Well, with me now is our sports news correspondent Richard Conway. So just detail the events that have led to where we are now.
Well, we know that a number of former players were coached by Barry Bennell have come forward over the past few days to talk very powerfully and gives very strong testimony about the abuse they suffered from him. Barry Bennell, of course, convicted in the US for child sex offences in 1994, convicted in the UK in 1998, and given a 9-year sentence. But we are told that the officers were called to an address in Stevenage on Friday night, shortly after 11 o'clock. And Barry Bennell is understood to be receiving treatment still in hospital, but Thames Valley Police saying they feel it would be inappropriate to comment further at this stage.
The understanding is that some people had rung police and said we're a bit concerned about it.
Yes, they're treating this as a concern for welfare case, is how they have termed it.
Now, just explain where we are with this, because it seems almost every day now we're getting new allegations, not just about him, but about others within football, indeed other sports as well. So where are we with this investigation, as it will become? Yeah, the scale and scope of this is developing almost on a day-by-day basis. At the moment, we have 4 police forces investigating claims of historical child sex abuse. We have the Football Association conducting an internal inquiry, an internal review into how it handled claims that from the past that were put to it, and how it dealt with clubs. Crewe Alexandra, where Barry Bennell was a coach for many years, it too is examining its claims. It's appointing external legal counsel in order to do that. And the National Police Chiefs Council saying over the weekend that they expect more footballers to come forward to give their testimony, perhaps in the coming days and weeks, but also saying, Simon, that they expect this to extend into other sports too. Richard, thank you very much. Richard Conway.
Hello, very good afternoon. This is Sky News at 3. Convicted paedophile football coach Barry Bennell was rushed to hospital after being found unconscious at a hotel on Friday. He's the man at the centre of football's sexual abuse scandal after 5 former players have spoken out with allegations against him. The former Crewe Alexandra youth team coach remains at the Lister Hospital near Stevenage in Hertfordshire. Our senior correspondent Ian Woods is here. What more do we know about what happened?
The incident was attended by both police and ambulance service. It happened at around about 11 o'clock at night on Friday evening. Now, the day before, Barry Bennell disappeared from his home in Milton Keynes. There was some attention from the media outside for a couple of days. He hadn't been seen, and the police turned up on the Thursday and removed not only his dog, but some personal belongings as well. So there was obviously some contact between Barry Bennell and local officers. So 24 hours later, he's staying at a hotel, the Novotel in Stevenage, in Nebworth Park, and the police and ambulance are called, and he's taken to hospital for treatment, where we believe he remains at the Lister Hospital there in Stevenage. Now, people might wonder, well, all this talk about him being a convicted paedophile, why was he out and about? Well, his most recent conviction was in 2015, but it was for an incident dating back to 1980. He was jailed for 2 years. He served half of that, as is the norm, and he was released on licence. So that is why he is a free man at the moment, but at the moment he is detained in hospital.
Richard Cabourn was previous sports minister. He had something to say about this as well today.
Yeah, now Richard Cabourn was the sports minister starting around about 2001, so that's 3 years after Barry Bennell was convicted for the first time in this country of offences against children. What we've been trying to get to the bottom of is how much of an impact did that conviction of Barry Bennell at the time have on football in general? And the answer appears to be not an awful lot. Talking to people who worked at the Football Association at the time, they recall the case vaguely, but they think that it was something to do with the police, and therefore they just left it to the police to deal with. And the convictions happened, and Barry Bennell was sent to prison for quite a lengthy sentence. So it didn't appear to have had much of an impact. What appears to have changed, though, in the world of football and sports clubs and society in general was just a more general awareness of the problem of protecting children. So Richard Cabourn says that back in 2001, that was something that he addressed.
In 2001, when I became sports minister, the NSPCC came to see me and had concerns about a number of sports where there had been reports coming into the NSPCC, and indeed in that year, in 2001, they set up a special unit, a child protection sports unit, which then started looking at how they could, as it were, help governing bodies of sport make sure that they were fit for purpose in terms of the way they were dealing with the education and development of coaches, their club officials, so that we were trying to address the issues in 2001.
Okay, so that's what he says, dating back 15 years, bringing us right up to date. This man is in hospital. We're not confirmed why that might be, but what about the football players, previous football players that have made claims against him?
Well, those investigations are continuing. From 4 police forces have said that they are investigating. There may be other forces that are investigating as well, but the Police Chiefs National Council has suggested it's probably not a good idea if they give a running commentary on how many and where those forces are investigating. We know that more than 20 people, we believe footballers, have called the Professional Footballers Association helpline. More than 100 have called the NSPCC. Again, we're not getting regular updates on those figures. The suggestion that this could be as big as Jimmy Savile, well, Jimmy Savile is thought to have had almost 600 victims. Barry Bennell appears to have been active in a period from 1980 through until 1994. So that's a 14-year period. You do the sums and you think how many young boys may have been working with him in football during that time. That's why lots of people involved in this think there are still many more figures to come out.
Okay, for now, thanks so much indeed, Ian. Thank you.
A is to launch an independent inquiry into allegations of abuse in football. The club at the centre of the scandal, Crewe Alexandra, has also bowed to pressure and will launch an independent review into how it dealt with allegations that paedophile coach Barry Bennell was abusing boys. Well, earlier today, the head of the Professional Footballers Association said many more individuals have now come forward. Let's take you through what we know. So far, a number of former professional players have already broken their silence, including Andy Woodward, Paul Stewart, David White and Steve Walters. However, today, PFA boss Gordon Taylor said the number of people who have come forward with allegations of abuse now exceeds 20. Besides Crewe Alexandra, a number of other clubs have been implicated, including Blackpool, Manchester City, Stoke, Leeds United, Newcastle United and Southampton.
There's quite a number coming forward, and this is happening all the time, which is what we hoped and what Andy hoped when he went public after being counselled by ourselves throughout last year and this year. And their dream was to become a professional footballer, and what they had to go through and to keep to themselves for fear that suddenly they would be thrown out and the dream would be shattered is just absolutely harrowing.
Well, joining us now from central London is Damien Collins, Conservative MP and Chair of the Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee. Good afternoon to you, Damien Collins. The FA has announced its review into the allegations. This is something you'd been calling for. What does it need to focus on?
Well, I think it needs to focus on the way football has dealt with these allegations. What's been disturbing, apart from the main allegations themselves, which are horrific, is the idea that football was warned, that the Football Association was warned, people within clubs were warned. So if that was the case, what action was taken at the time? And also football needs to look carefully at its own structures to say, what are the safe places for a young person who's put in this position? You know, a young person that will revere a coach in their club, their only dream is to become a professional footballer. Who do they feel they can go to? Where can they go if they feel that they've been put in a difficult position or indeed they are a victim of abuse? It's important that this inquiry is properly resourced, I think led by a senior and eminent person from outside of football, and that it can report in public too. That is a really important part to make sure that this investigation will be prepared to go wherever it takes and expose problems if they exist.
What do you make of the fact that it's 10 days now since Andy Woodward first made his allegations? It's taken that amount of time for the FA and Crewe Alexandra to announce their investigations, their inquiries.
Well, I think they've been slow off the mark, but the right steps are being taken. What's important now is to make sure this is a proper independent inquiry. If you look at the way the BBC sought to address the concerns around Jimmy Savile and his work at the BBC in previous decades, they appointed a judge, Dame Janet Smith, who led an independent review, published that report in full and in public, examining not just the nature of the allegations, but was it reasonable to say that people within that organisation, did know about what was going on and they should have acted sooner. And that's what football has to do now. And it may well be that this review poses some very difficult and challenging questions for people within the sport, but it's necessary because the allegations are so serious, and it's necessary for the Football Association to try and restore trust on this issue.
And is this review independent?
Well, I think the review has to be, I think, for this review to be effective and to be respected, it has to be led by someone who is from outside of the football establishment, who is given the resources by football to lead a proper review and investigation, and then can share that report with other authorities and publish it too, so that it's not kept within the game. I think that's important if this review is to have credibility.
We've also had the reports today that a Premier League club paid a former footballer to prevent him from going public with allegations of rape by a former youth team coach. Incredibly serious allegation. And the report suggests that we've had a Premier League club obstructing justice and preventing someone from seeking that justice.
Well, that is an incredibly serious matter. I think an independent review, commissioned by the FA, should look exactly at these sorts of issues. It may well find evidence that it should then rightly be handed over to the police and will form part of a criminal investigation. But I think it's all of these sorts of allegations of who knew what and when. Did people try and come forward? Were they not listened to? Was there not a proper follow-up investigation? Or indeed were some people encouraged to say nothing at all? And these allegations really suggest a cultural problem within the game, which meant the victims of abuse went unprotected and their stories were unheard. And that's why it's such a serious matter, and it's right that there's a separate independent investigation looking at the issues for football and the governing body of football and for football clubs, as well as, of course, what will be a police criminal investigation into the people who have been alleged to have committed these crimes.
And what about your committee, the Culture, Media and Sport Committee? How will you be handling this?
Well, I want to make sure that a proper and robust independent investigation is set up by the Football Association. So it's encouraging that is the direction they seem to be heading in, and we want to make sure that they do that. We have a job on behalf of Parliament to scrutinise the Football Association as the governing body of English football. So we'll want to make sure that job is done properly.
Will you be calling people to give evidence before your committee? Will you be calling the FA, for example?
Well, we do regularly see the FA chairman and did indeed have him in front of the committee just a few weeks ago. And I'd like to understand more about the nature of this investigation they're setting up. We may well have questions for him about that. But I think the right way for this investigation to be conducted is by a senior person from outside of football who can lead an investigationary team and then publish their results. And I'm sure as a committee we will take a very big interest in that process and in the results of the inquiry too. If for some reason this process stalls and this investigation is not set up properly, it's not adequately resourced, and it's not led by an independent person or indeed with the freedom to publish a report in public, then we as a committee may look to do more ourselves. But I think the right step forward would be a proper independent investigation led by an eminent person.
OK, Damien Collins, thank you very much for talking to us this afternoon.
Guardian newspaper printing that story today, saying that Hamilton Smith, he's a former director of Crewe, talking about holding a meeting in the late 1980s to address those concerns about Barry Bennell and his relationship with young boys at the club. Now, he says that a decision was made to keep Bennell, but that he was not to be given, to be alone with children or to have them stay over at his house overnight. Hamilton-Smith left the club after that, raised his concerns with the Football Association, and he says after some time he went back to them and he was told that there was no case to answer.
Good evening. The man at the centre of football's sexual abuse scandal, Barry Bennell, is in hospital tonight after being found unconscious at a hotel. The former Crewe Alexandra youth team coach, who also worked for a number of other clubs, is being treated at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage. In the last half hour, Greater Manchester Police are telling us that they are the latest force to announce they've launched an investigation into historical sex abuse in youth football after receiving a number of calls. Enda Brady is live at the Lister Hospital where Barry Bennell is being treated. What more do we know about what happened, Enda?
Okay, he's still inside the hospital here, and we know that he was brought here very late on Friday night. The alarm was raised just at about 10 to 11 on Friday evening by a member of the public who was concerned for the welfare of a man, and emergency services responded very, very quickly indeed. I'm told paramedics were on the scene within 8 minutes of that call being made. Now, when they arrived to a hotel at Nebworth Park, just on the outskirts of Stevenage, the man in question, Bennell, was unconscious, and they brought him here. He received treatment and he stabilised, and he was treated over the course of the weekend. He remained here at the Lister Hospital in Stevenage Saturday, Sunday and throughout all of today. Now, that's as much information as we have been able to get hold of, because Bennell uses about 15 different aliases. Given his track record of offending and his past convictions, he has 15 different aliases that he uses, and it's my understanding that he is in the hospital behind us. He hasn't used any of those aliases. He's in there under a different name, but I've had it confirmed from multiple sources that Barry Bennell is being treated at this hospital.
Tam, we're hearing from Greater Manchester Police. They're telling us now that they are also investigating historical child abuse allegations in football.
Yes, Greater Manchester Police become the 5th force in England to get involved in investigating historical allegations. So they join Cheshire, their neighbours. The Metropolitan Police are also involved in this, Hampshire and Northumbria. A statement issued in the past hour from Greater Manchester Police. I understand that they've had more than 10 people approach them in the past week since this whole story broke by Andy Woodward very bravely coming forward and detailing in the Guardian newspaper the catalogue of abuse that had been inflicted on him by Bennell in the past. And now we know that Greater Manchester Police have had more ex-footballers get in touch with them as well. More than 10 have contacted police in the Manchester area, and they become the 5th force in England to open an investigation.
Thank you.